I've decided to do this miniature with a cyberpunk type style, but first I thought I would show you the parts unassembled before showing you the miniature when it's been assembled. This miniature is somewhat larger than the miniatures I normally paint, and for this miniature I've decided I want to give it a cyberpunk type look, being one of the arms and the legs as well are also machine parts, and there's also some machine parts on the head. However, for this particular video I'm going to concentrate on working on the skin and the face. First colour I'm going to use for the skin is Celestial Grey. And we're going to start off by making sure we cover all of the skin areas. I'm choosing to paint the skin with grey as opposed to more normal flesh tones, because with all the cybernetics I thought maybe he might have maybe nanites of some sort inside him as well. Plus it makes it interesting doing something different than normal. Next I've applied approximately a 3:1 mix with this Mechanica Standard Grey. Because ideally I want it to be able to fall into the recesses, but I also want at this point to add a bit of depth of colour. Although the paint's not quite dry yet, even from this we can already see quite a grainy, kind of leathery look to the skin. Now we're going over the skin again with Celestial Grey, only this time we're doing it with a lot less paint on the brush. And I'm going like this rather than up and down because I want to pick out some of those top edges. And you want to do this with a very light amount of pressure. Next, to add more to the unnatural skin colour, I've done a 50-50 mix of these two colours. And I just want to use this in those deeper recesses. I think that adding that bit of purple into the grey helps to give a bit more definition and a bit more character. Our next coat is 1 part to 4 parts. One part of the Lahmian medium. We want to use a very small amount of this to cover a very large area. And it's just to give it a slight tint to the tone. In fact, looking at that, I'm going to add some more Lahmian medium just so it thins it down a bit. Because you want those other colours to still be underneath. The purpose of that last coat was to help to tie all the colours in together a bit and tone down some of those darker areas. But we still want those darker areas there, we just want to tone them down a bit. Next, I'm going to apply some Celestial Grey again to try and pick out some of those areas where we want it a bit lighter. But we want to do it like we did before. We're just trying to skim the top really, so we don't need to put much pressure on the paintbrush. Catch some of those areas, bring a bit of light to certain parts of the miniature. Lastly, we're going to use some white scar, but we want to be very sparing in how much of this we use. While I was there, I've also put the white in for the eye. I've now painted white in areas where I've got the pipes. Some pipes on both sides of him for this eye here, and there's also a small little piece here. Next I'm using this glaze and I'm going to apply it over the eye area. But I'm letting it go, I'm not trying to make it very specific. I don't mind if it spreads out a little bit, and when that's dry it'll help to give a bit of a glow. For the small hole here at the top, I'll use a very bright blue. I've added some water into it as well. Next, for the cables, I'm going to use the Moot Green, and again I'm going to add water. The reason why I'm using water as opposed to Lahmian Medium is because I'm not trying to just thin it out like I would with Lahmian Medium. I want the paint to basically just spread in a very thin manner. So, and it gives a bit of a tint, and as you can see, it looks very bright at this stage. And this bright green really does contrast well with the darkness of the grey. Next, there's a few veins on this arm, so I'm going to use this purple. And this just helps to give a nice bit of difference to the colour. Lastly, for the green areas, we're going to use this. Only where last time we were covering the area, with this we're going to cover the outside around the area instead. It just helps to give that bit of a glowing look. Like I said, you want to try and avoid actually going over the previous green, but you want to cover all the areas around it if you can. That extra colour helps to make the green pop out more. So that's it, finished for the skin. And if you haven't already subscribed, remember, and you'll get to see part 2 quite soon. We shall cover the rest of the miniature.